Hey there gamers, Dreamcastguy here, and today we're talking about that state of play that just finished because I live streamed it and chat was not happy. I saw a sea of L saying it was the worst state of play of all time, saying it was disappointing. In fact, one of the top comments I saw is a guy said, I'm so glad I watched this state of play because I finally want to buy a PC. But let's talk about it because I don't think it was all bad. I think there were 2 or 3 games of the 20 they showed that do look fantastic, but they were kind of drowned out by a lot of stuff that just made me ask, what are we doing here? Like, we know what Sony is actually making. We know there's games coming up like Wolverine. We know they're doing Ghost of Yōtei. We know, obviously, we're getting things like Intergalactic, the next Neil Druckmann game and stuff, but this constant veil of secrecy, like, why was Ghost of Yōtei not here? But let's talk to it. Let's go through all the different games and talk about the ones that look good and bad. Hi, hope you're having a great day. And if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So what I did here is I pulled up Wario64. He put all the games we saw here in nice order of what we got a chance to see. It opened up with a big gameplay reveal for Monster Hunter Wilds. We've been seeing a bunch of this. There's actually been multiple betas now. This game drops in 2 weeks. This is the kind of stuff I don't like at State of Plays or Nintendo Directs or Xbox Developer Directs. Just want to say, we know this game is already coming out. I've already got it pre-ordered. You've probably got it pre-ordered. Anybody who's going to play this is already playing in the betas and stuff. But hey, in case you didn't know about what's about to be the biggest game on the entire planet, there it is. Oh, a new Shinobi game's coming out. It's 2D. It's got a hand-drawn art. This looks pretty dang cool, but a lot of this state of play felt like it had a bunch of indie vibe games, and some of them are good, like Shinobi. A lot of them weren't. Hey, new Sonic racing game. It's called Cross. Looks pretty good. I've liked the last couple Sonic racing games. I am going to be trying to get into this network test, so hell yeah. But then a lot of this stuff, a new Digimon game. Okay, we saw a lot more of Lost Soul Aside, and I've been a fan of Lost Soul Aside and other glances of it. This one, much less so. This has such a thick anime vibe to it that to me, I'm kind of bouncing off it. Anime Dark Souls at this point has been done multiple times by multiple games. Yakuza is about to come out. It's got a ton of DLC, beat 'em up crossovers and stuff, and yeah, I like Yakuza, but we already knew about that game. Splitgate 2, it's just Split. If you never played this, it's like Halo 3 crossed with Portal. So it's got tight shooting, but the ability to create entrances and exits. And I feel like a lot of these games, it's not even that they're bad. Splitgate 2 is going to be great, but I feel like a lot of these reveals weren't in-depth enough to kind of get why we should be excited. Like Borderlands 4. Randy Pitchford had to come out and be like, hi, I made Borderlands and I had a thumb drive. Hey, look at this game. I will be thankful the Borderlands 4 trailer did not have any dialogue in it. I feel like most fans, thought Borderlands 1 was funny, Borderlands 2 was absolutely hysterical, and Borderlands 3 was a raging dumpster fire. So I kind of appreciate the fact that I'm a little bit afraid that Borderlands 4 is still going to be filled with cringy Marvel humor, stuff of like, I moved that with my freaking mind for spoken style jokes. This trailer, even when it did look kind of fun, because it looks like Borderlands, it's so short you can't really get the vibe of like, hey, here's why you should be excited about it. They did also announce that they're doing a separate state of play coming up dedicated to Borderlands 4, which I feel like that was such a bad mistake. Like, you're currently airing a very bad state of play, and you're like, oh, there's another state of play coming up that's also probably not going to be great. Feels like going on a bad date, and they're hyping you up for the next, even worse date. Oh, God. Okay, let's keep going here. Split Fiction coming out March 6th. Everything they've ever done. This studio is fantastic. It's the people that did stuff like A Way Out and It Takes Two, so that's going to be a lot of fun, but, you know, we already knew about it. Okay, here is a good encapsulation of why I feel like a lot of people did not care for it. So, Directive 8020 is a new game by Supermassive. They make all the interactive horror movies, like the Corey and stuff like that, right? So, this is their next project, and it's an interactive horror movie, but this time in space with a alien pathogen that's hyper-evolving people. But what they're showing isn't really gameplay. Like in the Supermassive games, they're pretty much interactive horror movies, but you can walk around and interact with stuff or have optional dialogue trees that cause people to live or die and stuff. But they didn't show that. They showed basically like the opening cutscene of it. And I don't know, that doesn't really sell me about how this is a game. Or I guess more specifically, why does this get me excited about the PlayStation 5, right? What about this is PlayStation 5 state of play worthy? A lot of this stuff just felt like, okay, another Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, a little indie horror game with like freaking art that's very evocative of Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, that's pretty rad. I don't know. A lot of this stuff to me looked downright boring. I felt like a lot of this was bad until we got to the end and stuff started to pick up. Onimusha 2 Remastered is coming out here in May. Super excited about that. Here was probably, of the 3 games that really blew my mind, this was one of them. They revealed new stuff about the new Onimusha game. I'll admit, this was by far my biggest surprise. I figured that because we're about to get Monster Hunter Wilds, they wouldn't want to like hype up a different game. You know, I figured this is Capcom. They want everybody focused on Monster Hunter, but this looked great. It's the new Onimusha. It has a system where you can actually pick things up. It showed them throwing these blankets can get thrown onto the Oni. You can throw objects, you can cut them up. There's all sorts of, looks like body destruction technology. I'm a big fan of Onimusha. This looks really, really good, but that's coming out in 2026, so too excited about playing that anytime soon. Next up was the leaked Metal Gear Solid Delta trailer. Turns out the trailer was real, of course, and here it was in the state of play, just like we all expected. Next up, Hell Is Us. This was a pretty decent trailer, like aesthetically, but they didn't show us any combat. This is basically like a technological Dark Souls. They showed us zero fighting. They literally just showed the guy walking around in empty cities and looking at obelisks and stuff. And that seemed a bit like an odd choice. Lies of P DLC, Dreams of Another coming out. Whatever the hell this is supposed to be. Definitely looks like an acid trip game. Oh yeah, Days Gone Remastered. Oh god. Isn't this what people have been begging for? And so the new content is not extra stuff really. It's basically a speedrun mode. They put in a battle arena. They said, oh, it's going to be 4K, 60 FPS. It's got a PS5 Pro upgrade with even more zombies on screen. I mean, yeah, I like Days Gone decently enough. I think that's pretty interesting, but I feel like this state of play, it kind of highlighted how little ideas, how little excitement Sony seems to have for PlayStation. Like, hey, here's our PlayStation Plus games. This stuff to me feels like filler of, hey, we don't even know how to fill up a 40-minute presentation, so let's talk about our back catalog. Okay, now we're getting to the stuff that's actually good. Okay, so a lot of the stuff isn't great. This, though, the closeout and this, Tides of Annihilation. Now, it's hard to tell what this game is going to play like. In some of the scenes, she's climbing monsters the size of like a city. And it very much reminds me of like Shadow of the Colossus. And it's voiced by the lady who plays Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3. So I love that actress. Her getting possibly a Dark Souls style game or a God of War style game, that would be very cool. But Tides of Annihilation, this definitely has my attention. I kind of wish we knew more about it. It's coming out right now. We don't even have a release window. Next up, they showed Metal Eden. I could not tell what this game is about. I think you're like a cybernetic soldier with cyber sickness. We got a cyberpunk ripoff, Mind's Eye, by Leslie Benzie. This is coming out in the summer. It definitely just looks like cyberpunk. Looks like Sony cyberpunk. And I don't even think this game looks bad. It just looks like very AA masquerading as AAA. If this turns out to be mind-blowing, I'll be very happy about it, but Mind's Eye. All right. The final project is one we got nothing about. Absolutely nothing about. But we know who's making it, and we got 10 seconds of a guy standing up, looking at a clip. This is actor Raul Coley, who I love a lot. Single player IP, and it's by the developers of Returnal. Sounds like it's basically going to be Returnal 2. It's called Saros. It's a guy who's on a planet that's stuck in a time loop, and every time he does the time loop, he gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's Returnal. And I'm fine with that because I loved Returnal. I love Housemarque a lot. So Housemarque doing a new game, I'm definitely on board with it. But why dedicate time if it's going to be a 10-second trailer? It's not really giving us any information about it. It's not showing us any combat. It's not showing us any flashy reveals. It is just, it's too basic to get hyped. Now, I'm not mad about what isn't there. Yeah, there have been some talks about a Bloodborne Remastered. Yeah, that wasn't there. Or a God of War Classic Collection. Yeah, that wasn't there. I'm not sad about what wasn't there. I'm sad about the fact that, in general, this was just not a fun state of play. I really wish they would show us and actually talk about Ghost of Yōtei. Show us some combat. Show us some gameplay. Show us some stuff that basically says, hey, here's why we decided to go in such a different time period and character direction than Ghost of Tsushima. Sony's silence will always baffle me. But how did you feel about the PlayStation State of Play here on February 12th? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you could, please give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. I really do want to just name this video "What Are We Doing Here?" because I really don't know what the hell was this. So bad. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.